All right, on to the search route. So again, we want to be able to have a route /search, or let's just make it the home page /, and we'll have a form. We fill the form out. It submits to this route, which will then make a request to OMDB API, except that request will have a variable here coming from the form. And then everything else will work the same. We'll be able to leave this route alone. So let's add that in, app.get / just like that. And we'll just start by rendering a form, which we'll call search. So next up, let's make that touch views /search.ejs. And I had a typo. Touch views /search.ejs. Take a look at it. Add an H1. Search for a movie. And like I mentioned, we're keeping it very, very bare bones here. No styling. Let's just make sure we see this. When we run the server, I go to the root route. I see search for a movie. Excellent. So let's build a form. And let's add in just a single input, type equals text. We'll add placeholder equals search term, and we'll add in another input, type equals submit, like that. So where will this form go? Well, we want it to submit to our results route. And results route will then take care of handling the API call and then rendering a template. So that's just going to be action /results, and method is just get. So that's almost all of it. If we take a look, refresh the page, we have a really hideous form. I can add something in here, but nothing is being done with this. So even if I search for Harry Potter and hit submit, I still get Iowa, but it is submitting the form correctly. It's hitting this route /results, and that's getting the Iowa movies and rendering the results template. So we now need to take the data from this form and plug it into the API call. So the first thing we need to do is add in our name attribute. So we can call this whatever we want. Let's just call it query. No, actually that's a little confusing. So let's instead just name it search. So remember, when this request is made, when we submit the form, it's going to look just like this. I'll show you in just a second. Restart the server. Our data, whatever we put here, is going to be stored in search. So if we go back, refresh, and try something like, what's another state we can do? Let's do Wyoming. Submit. You can see up here we have search equals Wyoming, our key value pair in the query string. So that's all we need to do for the form. Then inside of our app, in this route, we need to access the data from that query string and insert it right here. So let's start simple. How do we get data from the query string? Well, it's request.query the name of the or the key of that piece of information, which is search, which is what we named it. Let's save it to a variable. Let's just print it out to start. Always like to start nice and simple. So I go back here. Let's do Montana now. And you can see we get Montana printed there. So now it's just a matter of saving that to a variable. So we'll just call it query equals rec.query.search. Then what we could do is just do plus query right there, and that will just add our search query there. An easier way, or a cleaner way in my opinion at least, is to make a URL variable and concatenate them like this, so that we have a shorter request that we make here. We just request URL. So we're getting the query, rec.query.search, so whatever the user typed into the form, we're grabbing that, Montana in this case, saving that to this variable. Then we're constructing a URL that's going to look like http://omdbapi.com/?s equals whatever the user typed into that form. And then we're using that URL. And that's it. So let's give it a shot. Go to our form. And let's search for Florida. And what do you know? We get 10 Florida results. Try it again. This time, let's do, what's another state? Alabama. Awesome. So next thing that we could do is just add a few minor improvements. Anything's an improvement, I guess. But the main thing I'm thinking about, not the UI, but I'm thinking about just showing you using more data. So we're not using year. We don't need type. Let's just use the year. So let's just do the movie title dash the year. That should be simple enough. And it will just look like movie year, just like that. We'll save. Whoops. And as you can see here, we get the year. And let's also add in, let's bold the movie title or italicize the year, either one. Let's make this a little cleaner here. Like that. Technically, we should add in a UL. Indent all of that. Okay. And we're doing the title, and we'll make the title, let's do strong. And we can also indent this to make it a little easier to see what's happening. All right. So let's just take a look. There we go. We get our bolded Sweet Home Alabama, Crazy in Alabama, and then the year that's not bolded. All right. So one last thing, really minor, but let's just add a back button. So an A tag, which we want href to be equal to /. Let's just do search again, like that. And now we can search again. Okay, one more. What's another state we could use? Oh, let's try New York. So we have a space. And when we submit it, notice that it automatically has a plus sign added there. New plus York, and that's what is being made with the, or that's what the request is being made with. So that's it for now. So just to reiterate the key takeaways, just a regular route. We're just sticking the request inside of it. When that request is done, then we're rendering the template. The other thing that's important is JSON.parse, because we need to turn that string into a JavaScript object that we can use. And then the last thing was we're creating a dynamic URL. So it's not always California or Iowa or whatever. We're now adding in the queries from the user coming from the query string from the form. All right.